to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is a creator, writer, and host of her own web series, blog account Travel Style and Shopping, and they call her Miss World Traveler, none other than Miss Kerry Damiano.
Hi.
Welcome, Miss Carrie, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that
Sure.
I miss?
Sure. Well, I've been doing Ms. World Traveler. It's a web series on YouTube for about 3 years now. But it's been a whole lifetime in the making because I've been to actually now over 140 countries. And, you don't get that overnight. So I've been doing it a long time. I've always been passionate about travel. And now I get to share that passion with everybody else.
Indeed. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Carrie. Thank you. And today let's talk about why it's never too late to start a business.
Yes.
What?
Well, really,
Definitely.
never too late to do whatever it is that you're passionate about. I mean, I like to talk about that a lot. Is that I mean, we all have dreams, and you're never too old to dream. They don't have an expiration date, and so it's one of those things that if you keep saying, someday I'm going to do that. Someday I want to do that. Well, why not someday be today? Why not say it's not too late? Now is a good time. Now is the right time. Make it be the right time. And I feel like I'm a perfect example of that. I started Ms. World Traveler in my 60s. And I would have liked to have started it, 20 years ago when I had more energy and,
Yes.
I was more spry. But, it came just exactly at the right time and God's timing. And, so I just feel like it's just never too late to do what you're passionate about.
Yes, people, it's never too late. So, what is the single most common age based myth you have to debunk for people over 40 or 50 who want to start a business, and what is the truth behind it?
Hmm. Well, I don't have an answer for that right off the top of my head, but what comes to mind is when I was 18, I was graduating from high school. I remember thinking our 20-year reunion, and I pictured like people in wheelchairs and with canes and gray hair. That's 38 years old. I had just a completely wrong different of what age was because there's just no concept of it when you're young. When you get older, you're just like, no, I still have lots of things going on. I have so much more to be accomplished. I have things on my bucket list. And so, you know, you're only as old as you feel, right?
Yes. Definitely. So, Miss Carrie, how does the motivation for starting a business later in life differ from move fast and break things ethos of a 22-year-old founder, and why is it often strategic advantage?
Mm. Well, I think every day that you live, you get more experience, you get more wisdom, you get more maturity. You just live more life. You become more self aware. So every day you get better. So, it's never too late because you're the best today that you've ever been. And tomorrow you're going to be even better. So, why not start now?
Why not? Yes, start now and stop procrastinating.
Exactly.
Miss Carrie and I will support you 100%. And the fear of failure can feel
Mm,
magnified when you have
yes,
more to lose. How do you
very
help
true.
people refrain the risk and build a safety net?
Mm. Well, I think part of it is figuring out what your fears are. Is it the fear of failure? Is it fear you'll lose all your money? Is it fear you don't know what you're doing? Is it fear that people will reject you? not respond to what you're doing. We have all of these different fears, and I relate it a lot to travel because travel is just kind of a microcosm of life, and so we have fears, in terms of I don't want to travel alone. Maybe I can't afford it, or maybe I don't. Maybe I'll be lonely. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. It's the same thing with starting a business. And so I think if you can pinpoint what it is that really is holding you back, then you can take steps to overcome it.
Baby step, people, baby
Yeah.
step. The unique advantages or of let's say the unique advantages of experience beyond just a redoer. How does a lifetime of professional experience, a hard-won wisdom, create a steadier foundation for a business than youth alone?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Beyond just a doer, how does a lifetime of a professional experience, a hard-won wisdom, create a steadier foundation of a
Mm,
business than a
yes.
youth alone?
Well, it's like building blocks, isn't it? When I
Yes.
look at Ms. World Traveler, I had to wait like 22 years. I knew something big was coming. I didn't know what it was. And every new thing that would come, I'd say, okay, God, is this the big thing? And I always felt like he would say, no, but it's what I have for you right now. And so the next thing would come and I'd ask the same question. No, but it's what I have for you right now. And then, after 20 odd years, when I finally got to see what it was, I could look back and see all of those building blocks being put into place. I needed some more skills. Technology had to be in the right place. I hired my niece to come alongside me and work with me on social media. She had to be in the right place. All of these little pieces had to sort of be in the right place at the right time. And that was why I had to wait. I just wasn't ready. The world wasn't ready for me to do this. And so now that I'm doing it, I can see that I needed all those foundational pieces.
Well, thank you for sharing that to the world, Miss Gary. Yes, you've likely seen industry trends come and go. How
Mhm.
does this perspective help you to identify truly sustainable business ideas versus fleeting fads?
Mm. Well, I think one of the biggest trends is really being able to work remotely and have your own business. If you have a computer, you have access to the internet, you can pretty much go anywhere, work anywhere, do anything. You sort of take it with you. You are your own business, and you can reach out to the world that way. So to me, that's kind of a trend, and especially women who some want to stay at home, or they're raising their family and they can't have full time work. It just allows for so much more flexibility and opportunity, and I think that's just one of the greatest trends that I've seen.
Yes, definitely. Great trends. And
Yeah.
how does emotional intelligence and self awareness gain with age become a superpower in leadership,
I
sales,
love,
and customer retention?
I love the whole superpower thing, right? And
Yes,
all of us probably have a superpower. Have you identified yours?
yes, definitely.
Yes.
How about
Are
you,
you
Miss
willing to
Carey?
share it?
Yes, my superpower are, I think, to communicate with people, sharing their ideas, asking what is their legacy to the world, just like you. And you, Miss
Okay.
Carey?
I think it's my joy of life. And
Mm,
so I try and radiate, energy, positivity, joy, and, it comes from the joy of the Lord. But, it's something I like to put out into the world that I hope inspires people and
mm-hmm.
encourages people. And I think there's a bit of an emotional intelligence with that too. That you can see when somebody's struggling, and sometimes it's just a word, a smile, a compliment, something that will just energize them the same way that I'm energized.
Yes, thank you for sharing your superpower, Miss Gary.
I don't know. We'll
Thank
see at
you.
the end if you think it's my superpower or not, right?
Thank you, thank you. For someone with a decades in a corporate career, what is the biggest mindset shift they must make to thrive in a
Mm,
scrappier world of entrepreneurship?
mm. You know, I haven't been in the corporate world in over 25 years, so I'm probably pretty out of touch. My sister was in it for many years, and for her, it was kind of, um, you know, survival of the fittest. You just had to do whatever it needed to be done. And for her, she was in the technology industry. It was staying on top of technology, which, as you know, it changes so fast. It's so hard to keep up. And the older you get, the harder it is to keep up. I mean, I like to think that I didn't grow up using computers. I, it was later in my working career that it became a big thing. And so I'm not as fast at learning as somebody who's grown up with it. So that's just, something I know from her experience that you have to work really hard just to keep up.
What are the most effective ways for a later stage founder to rapidly fill knowledge gaps, especially in areas like digital marketing or modern tech tax?
Well, my answer was hire a young person.
True.
As I mentioned, I brought my niece alongside me, and she handles the social media and some of the more digital technology types. And she does all of the editing for the show. And part of it is I don't feel that I couldn't learn it. It's I don't want to. I feel like I have many other skills and things that I bring to the table. So why do something that drags me down and it just is a weight on my shoulders when I could bring somebody else along that they love it and it's a joy for them to do and it's a chore for me. So that I think is something that I've learned in business that bring on an expert to do the things I am not an expert at.
What does a realistic timeline for building a momentum look like for a founder starting in their
Mhm.
50s, 60s, and how is
I,
it different from a
you,
Silicon Valley overnight success narrative?
I think that's completely dependent on the person, dependent on the industry that they're in. Um, it's different for everybody. So it would be hard to say. I remember when I first went into my own business, my dad saying, it takes like 3 to 5 years to really get things going. And I'm thinking, and I was pretty young at the time, I'm like, what? I want 1 to 3. That's what I was thinking. And then, of course, I hit 3 to 5, like, I think he knew what he was talking about. And really, I would say it's more like 8 to 10. Not everybody is an overnight success, right?
Hmm. Definitely. And what are the most common energy and stamina challenges for founders who are no longer in their 30s? And how can they structure their workday to optimize for sustainability, not burnout, Miss Gary?
Mm. Well, I want to address the burnout that you mentioned because I think we get burned out when we aren't doing what we love. And not everybody gets to do what they love. But I think if you have a balance and you can find, if you do have to have a job that is not something that you're passionate about, fill the rest of your life with things that you are passionate about. And then you have a great balance. If in some way that you can do something, do for work what you love, that energizes you, that keeps you from the burnout. For me, I wake up every morning excited about what the day is going to bring and ready to face the challenges, and when they come, okay, they come, it's hard, but I'm still energized and excited about doing it. So I haven't faced burnout, even though I'm working harder now than I've ever worked in my whole life.
Definitely. And how can older entrepreneur effectively bridge the generational gap to attract younger talent, customers, and maybe even a co-founder?
Mm. Well, I think that is just, knowing who your target audience is. For me at Ms. World Traveler, our target audience is women, really more like the 30 and up range. So, like, we're not on TikTok
Mm.
because that just doesn't make sense for our audience. So, I think figuring out who you want to talk to, who are you looking to ignite, and then figure out how you can better approach those kinds of that demographic.
Miss Carey, what
Yeah.
role does technology play as a both a barrier and an enabler? What's the best way to get over the tech intimidation factor?
Well, I was intimidated by social media, and I still kind of am. I remember, I mean, this was over the last 25 years that I need to do some more social media. I need to do it. I need to do it. And every time I would think that, I would just be like, yuck. I just don't want to. I just had this barrier. I think it was a mental block. And finally, when Ms. World Traveler sort of appeared, what it was supposed to be, it's all on a digital platform. And so at that point, that whole feeling of yuck went away. And then I embraced it. So it was, for me, it was more about the right timing for it to be, and the right business opportunity, plus bringing on somebody younger who could help me. And she teaches me, and so I'm learning it. I'm by no means good at it, but I just am able to learn a little bit at a time and take those baby steps.
Baby steps. So,
Yeah.
Miss Carey, as a creator, writer, host, and Miss World Traveler, what are your short term and long term goals?
Ooh, well, right now what we are working on is upping our number of followers, so the number of views, people that see us. We actually just today, I'm announcing on your program that we won an award today. It's by the
Congratulations.
Vidi Awards, and so we've won a number of awards here the last 10 months. And this one today was for script writing. So we're getting noticed in terms of some critical acclaim, but we haven't really, gone viral yet. And so that's kind of what some of our goals have to do with really trying to figure out how to get a few more eyeballs on it.
Congratulations, Miss Gary. And
You heard it first.
yes, looking forward for more and more awards.
Yes.
And good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success.
Thank you.
And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Mm, just do it. I'm borrowing from Nike, but just do it. Figure out a way, even if it's a little bit. Take a step toward it. Start, putting together a plan if you need to. Okay, by next year, I want to be able to quit my current job and become a photographer or become a wedding planner or whatever it is that you feel like you want to do. But start taking steps now, today. It's never too late.
Yes, just do it, people. Just
Do
do it.
it. Exactly.
Again, stop procrastinating.
Yeah.
And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey, Miss Carey?
Yes. Well, I like to think that the Bible is the book that has given me sort of my guide, my instruction, all the things that I need in terms of relating to people, in terms of running a business, in terms of how to spend my time, to prioritize things. And so, it's living. It's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and it's living, and it's something I hold dear to my heart.
Yes, and thank you for that recommended book, Miss Carey. Yes. So, what does technology plays as a both a barrier and enabler for those aging, let's say aging or older founder?
Mm. Well, I kind of mentioned it earlier. It's just keeping up. Keeping up.
Yeah.
It changes so fast, and like for me, I'm just there's so many other things I'd rather be doing rather than keeping up on what's going on technology wise. Uh,
Yes.
so it's a struggle for me. And I think probably some other older people too. Just this year, I lost my mom. And, one of the things that we were, excuse me, kind of watching her decline was she wasn't able to work things anymore. At the end, she couldn't work her phone anymore, and she'd always been able to work her phone. She couldn't work her remote for the TV. Just things you just see. The older you get, the harder technology becomes for people, and so piece of advice: hire a young person.
Yes, higher per person. So, what is the most rewarding non-financial aspect of entrepreneurship you experienced that you could not have gotten from traditional career path at this
Mm,
stage?
mm. I have built a team of women that work with me. They're all independent contractors, basically, and I feel a great sense of responsibility to help provide for them. But also, I feel the sisterhood, the camaraderie of us working together for a common goal, and that's something that has been quite rewarding for me, and I think for them too.
Definitely rewarding. And Miss Carrie, for someone who feels their skills are outdated, how can they audit their life experience to discover a hidden marketable business idea that may be overlooking?
Mm. Well, I think there's probably lots of opportunities to do that. One of the things they did at my church that was very interesting is we took some, I guess they weren't skill tests, they were more like character tests. Personality might not be right, but all these different questions that you answered. And then it came out with some different things. These are some of your hardwired skills. And I think there were a lot of people who were kind of surprised at what their hardwired skills were. And for me, it was as soon as they said it, I'm like, oh, of course. That made total sense to me. But it was kind of nice to go through the process and let other people, evaluate what those things are and have it sort of laid out. And there's lots of those kind of things out there. So I think it's probably a good idea to utilize those opportunities.
Yes, definitely utilize those opportunities. And Miss Gary, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in third season. I'm a food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101, and music are in fourth season. And my baby podcast Law 101, mental health and Bible verses 101, science 101 and sex 101 in its second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Gary, if you could give one piece of advice to your 50-year-old self just before starting your business, what
Uh,
would it be?
uh, um, to just not stress over it. It's coming. You don't have to worry. You don't have to think. You don't have to grasp. God will bring it at the right time. And I can just rest in the fact that it's coming. It's there. There's a purpose. And I don't have to worry about what it is or when it is.
Definitely. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Gary. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right
Yes,
now?
yes. Well, obviously, we have a web series on YouTube, Ms. World Traveler, and we'd love for you to come and alongside and subscribe and follow along our journey. We also have Instagram, and that's Kerry Ms. World Traveler, Kerry, Kerry Ms. World Traveler. So please come alongside us, join us.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Gary Damiano because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy like this to come. So, Miss Gary, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.